It's my first time here this year, but I know we've already started a conversation about how to approach the year. Yesterday, we started a conversation on taking stock of the year 2021 to help you plan for 2022. We didn't finish that conversation, so today we'll continue as promised. Dorian Bafo, CEO of Branch Out Africa, will join us again. This time, we'll give more time to you, the viewers, to ask your questions. Now, one other issue we all should be worried about is a policy reversal announced in the budget, which is being implemented from today and which the Ghana Union of Traders Association says it is likely to impact prices of a lot of items. This is a reaction to a statement from GRA, the Ghana Revenue Authority, which announced that effective January 4, that's today, benchmark values will be reversed for some 43 selected items. The reversal will affect the selected items from all the three categories on which the reversal was applied. So how will this pan out financially? We would analyze this with Professor Lord Mensah. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. We'll also hear from GUTA and the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. So we have all that lined up for you today. I'm Israel Lai, and I'll be joined, obviously, by anyone in a bit. But do stay tuned in. We have a show for you, and I'll tell you about my experiences in Turkey, Istanbul, Antalya, all of that. Do stay tuned in. You're welcome to the AM Show.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapisa Sibidi. In our first story, the family of a missing Lands Commission staff is hopeful their relative would be found alive. It's been almost 5 months since Rodolin Amodako, who turned 33 yesterday, went missing. The police have provincially charged her husband, Dr. Wilberforce, a lecturer at the Petroleum Department of the KNUST, with kidnapping. The family says the disappearance of the mother of two has left them in pain. Interior of our security desk visited the Accra home of Rodolin and has come through with this report.
Rodolin Amwadakon, a staffer at the Kumasi office of the Lands Commission, would have turned 33 today. But the mother of two, described by the family as loving, caring and lively, is not available to observe a day which usually comes with pomp and pageantry. Her disappearance means no Christmas celebration for her extended family. For the family, it is hard to contend with the harsh reality of her disappearance.
It has been extremely difficult. Very, very, very difficult. Because this is the first time the children are not seeing their mother for Christmas. This is the very first time. And if they keep asking where the mother is, what do you see? None of the family celebrated Christmas this time. We are all looking forward to seeing our daughter. So to us, this Christmas didn't exist.
Members of the extended family, including the mother, sister, aunties and uncles, have been meeting on New Year's Day to pray and discuss the way forward for the disappearing Rodolin. The family is optimistic their relative will be found alive. As optimistic as they are, the family is not sure when Rodolin would return to the family. Charlotte Aqua, her aunt, is the family spokesperson.
We all have the faith that he is still alive, being kept somewhere by these wicked people. And we pray and we are trusting the Lord that he will bring her alive to us.
And how soon will this happen?
Who knows? We are waiting on the Lord. 1,000 years is like a day before the Lord. So all that we are saying is that he is the Lord. He is a faithful one. He knows everything. He knows where Rhoda is. We are pleading that the time of waiting should be shortened for us.
The family has, since the disappearance, received psychological therapy support from the police. But the family is challenged in dealing with Rhoda's two clever but emotionally traumatized children who keep asking questions on when their mother is returning.
Definitely, they will ask. They are not seeing the mother, they are not seeing the father. Isn't it heartbreaking for these little ones to go through such a thing? And the man should have thought about the case before kidnapping the wife. So it is very difficult for all of us. At times you will have to go and hide somewhere and try and you weep or try and find out or think about what you are going to tell the children. It is not easy at all. It's not easy. And I don't think it will be easy till we find our daughter.
Meanwhile, Dr. Wilberforce Agri is expected to appear before the Asokwa District Court on January 14, 2022. Reporting from Accra for Joy News, Ohime Interior.
Let's go to Kumasi, where the Ashanti Otumfo Osei Tutu II is asking teachers, education and employment ministries to resort to the use of dialogue to reduce industrial actions. He says not only are students at the receiving end of such frequent actions, but they also affect education in general. There's more in the following report.
Speaking at the 6th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference of NAT, the Asante urged teacher unions and government to use consultative dialogue to build consensus to eliminate frequent industrial actions.
It does get truly disconcerting when industrial relations break down in education and teachers abandon their classrooms and lecture halls. Obviously, those who really suffer in this are the innocent children. The distress caused to the poor students in any industrial action is incalculable.
The District Director of Education for Techima North, Mrs. Teresa Pebu, has charged parents in the area to be supportive of the education of their wards at the basic level. She admonished parents to encourage their children to be in school by providing them with basic tools needed to help them stay in school. There's more in the following report by Anas Sabit.
Children at the basic level do better in school when parents are involved in their academic lives. These early years of schooling are an important time for parents to be informed and supportive about the child's education and to set the stage for children to develop and grow as young learners. With children in rural schools the most affected when it comes to their parents' involvements, the District Director of Education for the Techima North District, Mrs. Teresa Prebu, has called on parents to be concerned with their wards' education.
We have a lot to do as parents. The first thing we can do as parents is to encourage our children to go to school and learn. Children should always be in school. So parents, ensure that your children are in school and they are learning, and that you provide them with their basic needs so they'll be able to concentrate on their learning. If a child goes to school and has no pen, has no book, they will not be able to write and understand anything. So parents, help your peoples, help your wards. They are the future tomorrow. When we are not there, we are gone, they take over from us. So let's prepare them for the future so that when we are not there, they take over. And our teachers, put up your best. We have been trained to teach the children. Do the right thing in the schools. Teach them the right thing so that our children will learn and in future they take up from us.
Mrs. Teresa made this call at the fundraising ceremony organized by Sirius Preparatory School. Founder and director of the school, Yeboah Samson Jr., charged government to extend support to pupils in private schools to help improve the standard of education across board.
I want to call on the government to support the private schools when it comes to looking at the standard or trying to look at the Ghanaian child in terms of examination writing. Currently, we are going to the students in Ghana are going to write exams at P4 level, and I am very much aware that the private school was not considered. So if you want to get the standard for Ghanaian students, I think the private school should also be considered. Secondly, I want to plead that there must be a system to actually test the standard of the preschool, because that is the foundation. So if you can get a solid building we need to lay the foundation very well. So I'm pleading that there must be a platform created so that we can actually have competition for the preschool and the primary level too.
On his part, Chief of Jibri Nana Amiao Kesebin II appealed to authorities to provide speed ramps in the area to help minimize the number of children killed by overspeeding vehicles in the area. We always record pedestrian knockdowns involving children in this area. Throughout the year, we've been recording such accidents, with only the month of July being the month without one. So we are appealing to authorities to come to our aid by providing us with speed ramps to help reduce these menace. Reporting for Joy News, Anas.
Bantamahene Bafo Owusu Amankwatia is pleading with government to turn his attention towards the developmental needs of the Ashanti region in 2022. He says Kumasi, the second largest city in Ghana, is gradually turning into a village. The chief wants the government to at least construct one flyover and complete 5 stalled hospital projects to ease congestion at the Komfonochi Teaching Hospital. He was speaking to the media in Kumasi, and Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko has more.
I want to thank His Majesty Otumfuo Osei-Tutu for providing effective leadership for Ashanti.
There is a general narrative that Ashanti region has not benefited from its fair share of development as the stronghold of the ruling government and the second largest city in Ghana. Government this year initiated the construction of Kumasi's inner city roads, many of which have stalled. Bantamahene Bafo Amankwatia says it should be government's priority to at least construct one flyover to boost the image of the city.
When you look at the development in Kumasi, especially our roads, now we will say that the government has started, trying to, sort out the inner roads. But then what the problem really is the sort of traffic jam that we experience in Kumasi. Until the government decides to build overheads for this city, it will be very difficult for us to get over with this traffic jam that we've been experiencing.
Ashanti region has 5 hospital projects at various stages of completion at Sewa, Aferi, Fumana, Konongo and Kumau. Bantamahene wants government to make them operational.
Komfonochi, apart from dealing with major cases, is also saddled with minor cases because there are not enough hospitals in the Ashanti region. Because of this, I want to plead with the government that we have Konongo Government Hospital, we have Seria Government Hospital, we have Aferi, and then we have Fomena and then Kumau. They've all not been completed. Some people are saying they've been abandoned. Fine, whatever it is, I want to appeal to the government that the way things are going, the only way out to help with the health situation in the Ashanti region, and especially the northern part of Ghana, is to make sure that all these hospitals, are made operational. When this thing happens, it means that the pressure on Komfonochi is going to go down.
He also tasked the new mayor of Kumasi to move traders to vacant markets to decongest the city center.
We have empty spaces in our markets that can house all these people selling on the streets. I think the issue is enforcement. People need to be told that we don't sell on the streets. We are telling the chief executive to try and make sure that he deals with this menace. I believe it's turning Kumasi into something else.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asare Donko, Kumasi.
Principles of Promise, POP, a non-profit organization, has issued a disclaimer indicating that it does not operate a traveling agency that offers job opportunities in Europe and America. According to a communique from the organization, some unscrupulous individuals are using its name to lure and scam unsuspecting people who seek to travel and work in the Western world. Evelyn Kanga is the programs officer of the Teacher Support Unit of Pencils of Promise.
This group of people create accounts on Facebook which they use to advertise their operations. Some of these accounts are even sponsored. That means that these accounts have been paid for to pop up on timelines even when the people who are owners of these pages have not liked or subscribed to the scammers' pages. They make interested people complete online forms under the guise of COVID-19 because they make them understand that all their processes are online due to COVID restrictions. And they do this in order to prevent physical contact with these victims. They make their victims pay huge amounts to certain Momo accounts. Aside this, they even make them submit medical test results and make extra payments for certain transactions which they themselves are not even aware of. Now, Pencils of Promise would like to inform the general public that it does not engage in any travel and work abroad to the USA, Canada, or Europe. Pencils of Promise is a not-for-profit organization which is working to provide quality education globally. Anyone who does business with any travel and work abroad agency bearing the name Pencils of Promise does this at their own risk.
And that's how we end the AM News. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Mapito CBD.
It's a week, right?
It's a week, and you walk into work, and there's this, picture of him looking back. And this morning was funny because I ran a little late, and so I parked, and then I got out of the car and I turned, and the first thing that I saw was, this big, and I could hear him in my ear shouting, "Why are you late? Why did you not sign on with Izzy? You are not professional. You do not understand the job." And so I said to the picture, I'm coming. I beg.
But there's a giant poster of Elvis.
Of Elvis, on the front. And also the condolence book at the reception. So you can pass by, and write in that, share your memories of him as well. But he lives on with us every day. We hear his voice in our ears, all the time, telling us what to do. And we thank God that we had him. I've come to the point where I'm just saying, it's God who gives and it's God who takes away. So blessed be the name of the Lord. So.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. All right. Let's get into the newspapers.
Should we? Let me see. Is there something else I want to worry you about before we continue? Just give me 10 seconds. 10, 9. Okay, maybe not. I'm going to start with the Daily Graphic this morning. So on the front page, no vaccination, no entry. Ministry of Health leads policy implementation. So all government and public agencies, including ministries, departments, and agencies, are to strictly enforce a no vaccination, no entry policy on their premises from tomorrow. So staff and visitors will be expected to show proof of vaccination by producing their vaccination cards before entry is allowed onto those premises. This new directive forms part of measures at controlling the spread of the COVID-19 and help improve the vaccination exercise in the country. So if you're going to any of the ministries or any of the public agencies, you need to carry your vaccination card. So vaccination card is going to become like a passport, or something, to get entry to
so
wherever
this is
you're
not
going.
Just for workers? Anybody?
No, staff and visitors,
Oh, wow.
Yep. Will be expected to show proof of vaccination.
It's interesting. I mean, we need to see how that, anyway, they had given the Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service had indicated that we're looking at something like that.
Yeah.
That's why they declared December the month of
vaccination.
COVID-19.
And the thing is that we don't have I mean, like a vaccination shortage, or those who are willing to get the vaccine are not getting access to. If you go to your nearest hospital, you should be able to get the vaccine. Where we are right now is kind of like this hesitancy. And the hesitancy is two things. You know, one school of thought is, you know, that coronavirus doesn't even exist. It's a conspiracy theory, da-da-da-da.
And there's some pastors who are preaching that.
Yeah. And then, and then there's also the school of thought that... you interrupted me and I've got what I was saying. So one school of thought is what? What's the first thing that I said?
The one that the people are saying there's no...
and then there's the that the vaccine hasn't been around long enough, and so they don't know what the long-term effects are.
And there are those who are saying that, yes, if you take the vaccine...
You'll vote for MPP in 2024. Yeah, that's that one.
That's one of those.
Yeah, that one.
And then there's another one that you're going to have metal stick to your body, is going to become magnetic, and you're going to have
all sorts of things. The impotency thing was a big thing. I remember a few weeks ago we did we went to the community, and still with some of the men the issue is the impotence. Like, you know, if I get it, am I going to not be able to, you know, rise up for the occasion?
Yeah.
So that seems to be a big thing.
But you know, rather it's been proven that the people who have actually had COVID, who are having issues with you know, being
rising
able to
up,
perform, and all of that. So I think you're better off if you're going to... I've had the jab, and
you're rising up?
Very well.
Okay, all right then. Well, you heard it from Israeli himself, not me.
Why did you ask that?
Why wouldn't I ask? We use ourselves as, you know, examples.
Because now people are going to be imagining what it is like.
We were not going to imagine until you said people are going to be imagining. We had moved on to the pure. All things are pure. This morning we came to work very pure. Now you are talking about imaginations, but we cast down every imagination in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. All right, let me continue with some of the stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Doom prophecies absent in the new year. Yes, of course, doom prophecies were absent in the Republic of Ghana, not the Republic of Umofia. Yes, so if you don't live in Umofia, then you know, hey, no doom prophecies
no
for
prophecies.
You. But of course, if you are a resident, citizen, a spectator of the great nation of Umofia, then well, actually, even with that, there weren't, you know, too many doom prophecies. So yeah, I guess that directive was a good one. Boom in road sector, 9 highways, 7 bridges, 7 interchanges this year. That's according to the roads minister. So that story, no vaccination, no entry on page 3. Body of anti-apartheid icon Desmond Tutu acclimated. Honestly, I don't know what acclimated means. So it's a Nipone. Yeah, so we're gonna just take a minute and Google. Ejol, do you want to just Google what
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up and share with
means for me.
else.
So 5 world powers vow to prevent spread of nuclear weapons. Omicron plainly milder. New measures not needed. Turkey's inflation hits 36% amid financial turmoil. Census spread of the Daily Graphic. Okay, there's a story on page 13, the doom prophecies absent in the new year. So highly publicized prophecies by some men of God that have characterized the start of every new year were largely missing as Ghanaians welcome 2022. Of course, this was on the back of that police statement that was released by the IGP. And of course, knowing that he was walking around town, so you could like be in church and then he'll just pop up. The vice president attended 3 services with his wife, with some of the ministers and all that. And he said he's optimistic that 2022 will be a good year for us. Census spread, a tool for advocates, shift in Ghana's educational system. DJA UNESCO developed manual on migration reporting, and CRI CSIR to release 2 tomato varieties this year. That is census spread. Alban Bagbin has been speaking. He says, I'm not biased. And then, of course, we know that former President Mahama lost his brother on the 31st of December. So may his soul rest in peace, and we send out our condolences to him and his family. Now, you remember that man who was at the ANC mall who was shooting that AK-47 in his air? Like, he was feeling all Rambo, James Bond. Well, yeah, he's not rambling anymore. He's been arrested. So the police placed a 5,000 Ghana cedi bounty for information leading to the arrest of the suspects. And some information came forward. Yeah, that's it. But actually, the man has been identified as Flight Sergeant Nicholas Owusu Frimpong, which is interesting. So He was arrested in collaboration between the Ghana police and the military service. Okay, so Bono region made news for good, bad reason. We spoke a lot to Bono region over the past year in terms of COVID-19 as well. Education capitalize on youth initiatives to start business, discount on import scrap. So we're going to talk about that this morning.
Yeah.
Aren't we? How Guta feels about it, what the ramifications are, how that's going to translate into the cost of
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll get into that in a bit.
We'll get into that in a bit. Talking about what we're getting into, we're also going to continue with part 2 of the starting the year, right? We started that yesterday. We had Doreen Bafo talk us through, you know, kind of prepping for the year, getting your goals in order and all of that. So we'll do that later on this morning. Okay, finally. Oh, there's nothing on Hearts of Oak. Oh, that's
what
very,
do you want
very,
to know about
sad.
Hearts of Oak?
There's nothing exciting happening.
Okay,
so
I'm trying to understand what aqua cremation is. Essentially, it's water cremation.
Oh, so like cremation, but water.
Yeah.
Aqua. Oh, that's
But I'm trying to
interesting.
understand what eventually happens because, you know, with cremation, you know that you're going to get
The ashes.
the ashes. I'm trying to understand what eventually comes out of this one, but we'll get that before.
Well, at least we have an idea.
Yeah,
Last story is back page of the Daily Graphic. Revelers disregard COVID-19 protocols. They're talking about the show, so that Accra Stadium, the beaches, you know, how people were really,
and the
chilling.
numbers are actually going up.
I think it was 12,000 yesterday, 12,000 active
12,000
cases.
active cases. That's quite serious.
Yeah, it is very serious. Maybe we can do a quick look at the dashboard before we finish the newspaper review. Road projects underway in Tamale, Sagnarigu. And that's it for the Daily Graphic.
Okay, so let's get to the Daily Guide, which has made it to the stands this morning. So, Atu forcing 2 others dragged to court over ambulance deal. And the former Deputy Minister of Finance under the John Mahama administration, Dr. Akasilato Forcing, and 2 other individuals have been charged by the Office of the Attorney General for allegedly willfully causing financial loss of 2.37 million euro to the state in a deal to purchase some 200 ambulances for the health sector between 2014 and 2016. Dr. Forcing, who is the sitting member of Parliament for Jumako Enyanisiem in the Central Region and a ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, has been charged alongside Sylvester Anemana, a former Chief Director of the Ministry of Health, as well as businessman Richard Jakpa. So this came out sometime before Christmas, and we know that Kasel Atufosing has responded. He says he's innocent and he didn't sign the deal. Sure, he went up in court and he would have to prove all of that. All right. The story about that gunman who
did that at
yes, he was just firing into the air. It's also here. New Year, they call him New Year gunman grabbed.
Yeah, because it was on the 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Flight Sergeant Nicholas Owusu Frimpong, he has been grabbed. And then brighter days ahead. That's President Kufuor saying that.
Can we play, when we're done, can we play Brighter Days, Sakodi and Obrafo?
Okay. So President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has expressed optimism in the country's ability to rise above its current obstacles and revive its fortune.
Remember, those current obstacles are not his fault.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read it, and it's for you to react. Okay. So I'm trying to imagine a typical, Ghanaian home.
Okay.
Hearing the president saying that.
Brighter days ahead. Okay.
So let me go over.
Okay, good.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has expressed optimism in the country's ability to rise above its current obstacles.
Wait, is this typical Ghanaian home, NPP or NDC? Because the reactions will be completely different.
Really?
Yes.
And I'm thinking at this point, whether it's NPP.
People are very loyal to their parties. Thank you very much.
Really?
Yes, please.
Okay, so some people, the E-level won't impact them.
Oh, I mean, you know how
the reversal of benchmark values.
The argument with that is that we're striving to make the nation better. So in the same way that Obama came and he said, times are difficult. Yes, we can. Akufo-Addo is saying that times are difficult. But
why don't you give me the two? So
the two reactions.
The two reactions. So this one that I've just read, give me the NDC reaction. NDC home reaction.
The NDC home reaction will probably be in Ghana. Every day, so honey one shika water was shika remoso abaye shika fe. Yeah, something like that.
NPP.
And people like, oh, okay, it's really going to get better. It actually is going to get better. It's important that we put together these, policies and all of these so that we can move forward, and make a good nation for our children. Okay. Especially since the Ejapa royalties may not go through, therefore we will not be inheriting some unexpected money. These things are very, very important, especially also because we want to break the 8.
Okay.
But we haven't really decided on who a flag bearer is going to be. But this is the foundation, for yes.
Okay. In his New Year message to the public on social media, President Akufo-Addo expressed his belief in the Ghanaian potential. I'm a firm, passionate believer in our national potential. We have it in us to rise and revive our fortunes. There are brighter days ahead for Mother Ghana, he said.
There will be, this is the end issue actually, there will be brighter days ahead for Mother Ghana if we change governments. Bring back former President John Mahama. He's a man for the people. He's the one who cares about the people. Under our watch, the e-levy would not even be something that we would think about. How do you continue to tax the ordinary Ghanaian? You take and you take and you take and you take from them. And it is never enough. And this is why with this parliament that we have now, the MPP, they are still living in the 169 days. But right now, that is why we are in parliament and we are fighting for the good of the nation. And we will not stop, and we are not for sale, and we will not be bought. So 2024, JM Twaso.
Okay, and
MP. Israel, listen. You come and put me in trouble this morning. Why?
Okay, so just for balance, do the MPP. And
what was the last thing that he said?
So there are brighter days. I'm a firm, passionate believer in our national potential.
Okay, so in the words of Gabi Asare Otridako, one must always be very must always admire, the tenacity, the pure tenacity of the President Akufo-Addo. One must always seek to see that, there may be obstacles ahead, but in the future, there's a lot of good things for one. You remember that Facebook post where he just did one must see and one must do, yeah. So I mean that would be,
okay.
And then there'll be a lot of
that's rich man's laughter.
Man can hear.
Okay, let's get.
Don't put me in trouble this morning. Please let me just issue a disclaimer. This was our little skit. I beg you.
Yeah, just a little skit.
Okay.
All right, so...
Omofia 2021 under review. Can I get an amen? Now, I saw in a country named Umofia in West Africa, there was a party, the CND, and the Lord opened my eyes. In fact, when he opened my eyes, then he put his hand upon me, and I saw it in a vision that the CND must be very careful in the state of Umofia.
Okay.
I was like, who is CND?
So that's fine. Now that you've done it, I think it would be good to have the reaction from Prophet.
No, it's okay. I'm not doing it again.
Oh.
I won't do it again. No, I won't do. I can't imitate him.
Oh, he was saying something to the effect that the prophets in Ghana.
I cannot. I don't have the vocal capacity to, no, I can't. I beg, please. I'm afraid of prophets. But he himself, he's in the newspaper somewhere. He didn't say anything much.
No, but
he's not a national major prophet.
No, he says that if the Lord has revealed something to him,
he would have
said it,
but
whether IGP or whoever.
So this morning, the question we are asking God is, why didn't you reveal anything to Professor Odro? For him to say anything.
Is it the case that the people who are claiming that God has revealed something to them, God really revealed something?
I don't know. I wasn't there when they went into a deep sleep.
But if God is revealing, will God reveal some, fictitious Umofia?
Oh, I mean, I think we all know that we all know what's up. So I think Prophet Nigel Gacy just, kind of did it. It was a disclaimer. You know, I think it was just a disclaimer. And I do think that if he really felt that, you know, that passionate about what he was saying, he should just have just said it.
Okay, so let's go to some other stories we have in the Daily Guide. Sudan's Prime Minister quit amid violent protests. 5 world powers issue pledge to prevent nuclear war. South Africa Parliament fire under control. Oh, and the newborn baby found in plane's toilet bin.
Yeah, I saw that story yesterday.
And the Brazil leader in hospital with intestinal blockage. Ouch.
Yeah.
The story about the New Year gunman grabbed is on page 6. Dampare stops doom prophets. Oh, final year student drowns in pool. A final year student from the University of Education in Winneba, Isaac Ampabing, 25, has drowned in a swimming pool at the Shekinah Hotel at Abesim near Sunyani in the Bone region. Okay, that's unfortunate. 3 students arrested for killing Navy rating. And that story also has been making the rounds for a while now. It's about, I believe it has to do with there was a Bolt driver or so, that or Uber driver, that the students got to him and they burned the port file. They set him on fire. Now, Martha Nkoma sells out Silverbird Cinemas with first movie. Okay. Kamedo turns down 20,000 CD US gig. All right. And Shatawale confirms rape allegation by Burna Boy. Oh, really?
Yeah, that story has been going on for the past few days. You know, Burna Boy and Shatawale have been going back and forth on some issues. And then Burna Boy, Shatawale... Okay, so one of one of them.
Controversial Dancehall Act. Shatawale has allegedly confessed to allegations that he attempted to rape a lady friend of Nigerian music star Burna Boy. In a series of tweets and Insta story posts, the Ghanaian artist in his confession also accused Burna Boy of being a rapist to prove that they are all the same. Burna Boy had earlier accused Shatawale of raping his lady friend he traveled with to Ghana. Shatawale, Nima, you tried to rape the girl I brought to Ghana back then. I won't say her name, but I know what you and Kofi did. That's the real reason I want your teeth and blood on the floor. I just want you to fight me like a man. Even if I know you are just an unhealthy dog. I could have gotten you killed ages ago if I wanted, but you are not worth it. You're just a sick puppy rapist, Burna Boy wrote on social media. In response, Shatawale admitted Burna's claim and even went on to make jokes about it, describing Burna Boy's anger against him as raping jealousy, really. He wrote, because he's a rapist, he's jealous, I did same to his girl, because that's his job. Raping jealousy, Burna Boy. He said Burna Boy was only angry because he reciprocated an action he took on a Ghanaian Instagram model. He alleged that Burna Boy raped and beat up a young lady, Matilda Hipsey, after refusing to succumb to... Okay, now it's getting dirty. Okay, I am just...
No, it does get really dirty, and you kind of wonder how it escalated from music to, you know, raping and almost like, you know... And so Lydia Forson also tweeted about the fact that she had called Shatawale and explained to that, like, raping is not really something that you proudly, talk about or you own, like it's, so it's honestly, it's very down in the gutter, disappointing. Yeah.
Okay, GRA begins the benchmark values reversal. That's here, and we're going to be talking about this as we indicated. Dache Mining named overall best small-scale miner. Ignore Forson's economic propaganda. That's Dr. Kuma, the Deputy Minister of Finance, saying that. And GPCC debunks Owusu Bempeh's claims. Okay. So the National Executive Council of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has rejected claims by the leader of the Glorious Word Power Ministry International, Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempeh, that a former president of the council, Apostle Professor Opoku-Nyina, once consulted him for prophetic directions. Okay. Active COVID-19 cases hit 12,422, and it doesn't look like we're out of the woods yet. We're going to see it rise a bit more before it begins to decline. Taxi driver commits suicide in police cells. That's unfortunate. Ministry of Health outdoors 2 traditional medicine documents NPP goes for elections. It says NPP has announced the timetable for the election of its executives. Okay. Israel donates vaccines to Ghana. Thank you, Israel. Police grabbed 5 suspected secessionists. Okay, we have that one too. Former Kano Emir extols Balmia's good works. Sarkodie Kidi Others Rock Rapaholic concert. Thrills at Experience concert. That's the Samini one. And Masquerades Street Carnivals Shakes Takrady. On the back page, Black Stars midfielder Mrs. Afcon train. Jamila Foundation supports 2022 Salah Peace Gala. Real PSG Bayern and Juve open Rudiger talks. UK government warns Afcon host cities. And
that's what?
So Premier League stars are arriving in Cameroon for the African Cup of Nations as rebels step up the activity to disrupt the tournament in the troubled Central African country, bringing new warnings of violence against fans and players. So they're concerned that if there's some insurgency action going on, the people who are there, the fans and the players, may not exactly be safe.
Come out alive, basically. All right, okay. Well, thank you so much for that, Israel. And once again, welcome back. It's great to have you back. And of course, the show continues after the sports. We'll be having that conversation about benchmark values. We'll also be having part 2 of starting 2022, right? Yesterday's conversation was so amazing. So really looking forward to that. Muftau is coming up with the sports. So don't go anywhere. The AM show continues.
Okay, before we take the break, you were asking me earlier what I brought to you.
Yes, what did you bring?
So there's these sweets that I brought from, it's called Turkish Delight.
Okay.
I don't know if you've tried it before, but I'm someone who's not crazy about sweets.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
If you like these enemies, it's not nice.
No.
Dabi.
No, it's actually really nice.
Because you don't like sweet stuff.
Yeah, but this is like moderate sweet, nice. That shouldn't be all sugary.
Yeah, it's never sugary for you though.
Okay.
Okay, let's have a look.
This one I got.
You see what I said?
The factory. It has pistachio in there. You may just want to try one piece.
I'm gonna do this one. But it's all stuck together.
You can break it up. Yeah?
It's not.
Yeah, you go. You can take it. It's morning getting your side. Yeah, go for it.
Israel.
Yes.
You don't understand when I'm worrying Israel, why I worry Israel. Who does this?
So they were supposed to have split it up. Okay. Now take a bite.
The thing I couldn't say now.
It has nuts in there.
On that note, we'll be back.
Good morning, everyone. This is AM Sports with me, Muftau and Nabila. Coming up, we'll be sharing with you the full squad Milovan rival has submitted to CAF officially. The list was submitted to CAF on December 30, but we'll have details of why it was published just yesterday. And also, we're hearing from the president of the Ghana Football Association, Ziketo Kreko, who's been speaking about the Kajam young refereeing policy and Manchester United losing for the first time in 42 years at Old Trafford to Wolverhampton Wanderers. But first, it is Ghana's coach Milovan Raivat who has named Mohamed Kudus in his final squad for the African Cup of Nations. The Serbian tactician who had named a 30-man squad decided to pull it down to 28, and officially it was announced by the Ghana Football Association on Monday. Roma youngster Felix Afena-Jan and Clement Salis Abdul Samed are the players dropped from the squad. Salis has been dropped because he suffered an injury. Let's take a look at the full squad Milovan Rivers has submitted to the Confederation of African Football for the competition that starts on Sunday. And we'll have Nuruddin Abdul Manaf, who is one of the players named in the squad as a goalkeeper. Also, we also have the likes of Andre Yadom in there as from Reading. Philemon Bafo of Dreams FC made the final squad. There's also Jonathan Mensah of Columbus Crew. Jonathan Mensah is one of the few players to have made Milovan's squad. He was with him in the 2010 African Cup of Nations and World Cup. So after 11 years, he's still playing under the Serbian. Then we have Thomas Tay Partey. He's expected to train today with the team. He arrived in camp yesterday. Edmond Addo is also in there. We have Abdul Fattah Isahaku. There is Daniel Kofi Ichre, Jordan Pierre Ayew. He's also training today with the team. He suffered a slight knock in the last Premier League outing Crystal Palace had against West Ham United. Mubarak Wakaso, he's seriously injured, but the medical team of the Ghana FA is certain that he might be fit before the first game against Morocco on Monday. Then we have Lawrence Atizigi, one player we understand is likely to be contesting for the #1 spot in the Black Stars team, alongside Abdul Nuruddin Manaf, whom we understand is also likely to displace Wallacott for that position. It is unclear though. We have Richmond Boache Yadom, Gideon Mensah, Joseph Penso, Joseph Wallacott, Abdul Baba Rahman. There's Daniel Amate expected to train today with the team. Rahman too is training today with the team. Samuel Owusu, Mohamed Kudus, that's an interesting one. Yesterday we had mentioned to you that the GFA technical team and the football governing body were reluctant that he's out of the competition. Their hope is that he will fully recover and play a part if the team reaches the latter stages of the competition. However, he joined his team to Portugal for mid-season training ahead of the second round of the league in Netherlands. So it's unclear whether he still be available or not, but the FA have named him in their final squad. There is Idrisu Baba, Kamaldin Suleimana, there is Alexander Jiku, Richard Atta of Accra House, Benjamin Tete, Abdul Mumin Suleiman, Maxwell Abe, and Abakana Sandan of RTU. These are the players Milovan Rivers have named for the African Cup of Nations. Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew, Daniel Amate, Thomas Partey, Baba Rahman, they are all expected to train today. Now let's talk about the Catch Them Young referee policy, which is one the FA believes could catapult referee in Ghana to greater heights. Selected young referees across the country officiated the first ever U17 Champions League, and president of the association, Keto Kriko, has promised his total support to the young referees.
It's always been my passion to join referees.
I was really scared when I was entering into the middle, and that was also my first match. My instructor told me to enter. I was very scared. I couldn't enter. So when I was entering, my heart was beating very quick. I couldn't even walk again.
In general, I have love for football, so I like it when I see people officiating matches all over the world. And I also want to be one of those women who officiate great matches internationally.
This hobby of refereeing is very beautiful and interesting. So I encourage my friends, like my age mates, you can do it. It's very easy. and very interesting.
Control of the ball. 4. So if the player is not in control of the ball, it is not dog.
I thought when you make mistakes, it is going to be a big case. So the GFA president came and told us that everybody make mistake. Even FIFA referees also make mistake. So what you learn, pour it on the floor. So that even when you make mistake, everybody make mistakes. So when you make mistake, after all, our coach will correct us.
Mistakes will come. Don't worry about mistakes. You learn along the way. Okay? Just know that you have the support of your own football association and you have my support.
My community, they usually play friendly matches, so I follow them. When I follow them to the match venue, I don't play. They give me the whistle, I'll be in the middle and I'll be handling the game. Most of them gave me morale that I have the talent, and most of them were saying that I should stop playing football and I'll go into refereeing.
I urge all the young girls and boys out there who have interest in football, who really want to be part of this program, and parents to allow their kids to explore, because this program is just really nice. It's interesting, you explore, a lot of things are going on here. So please, I urge everyone who has interest to come join us so that we can bring back the love.
Get them young, free and fair, get them young.
Quite an interesting one from the Ghana Football Association. From football, we talk politics now. And the General Secretary of the Ghana Athletics Association, Bar Hussein, says Benjamin Azamate and Joseph Paul Amoah were Ghana's outstanding athletes in 2021. The duo were part of the country's quartet that made history at the Tokyo Olympics with a time of 38.08 seconds. But Bauer picked the two as the best athletes and hopes for more of such performances in 2022.
But 2021 was an eventful year, a year that we thought we couldn't do much. But at the end, we saw that even though there was COVID, there was dried up on sponsorship and other things, but the athletes lived up to expectation. They did Ghana good by qualifying, first and foremost, from the World Relays to the World Championship, qualifying for the Olympic Games, breaking the 4x100 national records. I mean, for me, that was the highlight of 2021. And among the athletes that I can say what really made difference is Azamate and Joseph Paul Amoah. The promote interparity, the better amount equals. And Joseph Paul Amoah and Kweku Benjamin Azamate stood tall. Among the ladies, it was Deborah Aqua, who misses the Olympic Games. We're hoping and praying that she will make up the mark. But at the end of the day, she couldn't make it up. And her best one in the Olympic was 6.82. So we're just hoping that she will make it. But nonetheless, she was one of the best performers.
One win for Sevilla. Real Madrid's lead at the top now cut down to just 6 points because they lost to Getafe on New Year Day on the return of La Liga. Kumasi Ashanti Kotoko head coach Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum has given the players 4,000 Ghana cedis for beating Ediana Stars. The first time they've done so since the Oja Boys qualified to the Ghana Premier League. We appreciate your company here on the AM Sports with me, Muftaw Nabila. Abla. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, so this is still the AM show, and we're getting into our conversation, one of the conversations we're hoping to have this morning. Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has declared it will pass on to the consumer the additional cost that is expected to come for importers with the reversal of a reduction in benchmark values, which takes effect today. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced the reversal in the 2022 budget. Initiated in 2019, the policy was expected to, among others, reduce the cost of importing certain class of goods. With the policy set to be reversed, vehicles, sugar, spaghetti, palm oil, among some 32 commodities to be affected whose import cost will increase. First Vice Chairman of GUTA, Clement Boateng, says importers will pass on the extra cost to consumers.
The timing of the reversal of this benchmark value is not right, and we think it is going to have a very negative impact on businesses. We all know that this reversal has come about as a result of lobbying of AGI, but we think AGI don't have the capacity to produce the things that the benchmark value has been taken off. And so we think GUTA has an unfinished business with the government. We will still continue to engage government and see what best could be done. But as you have said, it is going to take effect from tomorrow. So if it takes effect from tomorrow, then consumers should brace themselves up for price increase, because no businessman, importer or exporter is Father Christmas, and for every cost that is going to be incurred by an importer or businessman will definitely be passed on to the consumer. So if it takes effect from tomorrow, consumers should brace themselves up for price increment. But we think, like I told you, we still have an unfinished business with government. We will still continue to engage government and see, how possible best, this benchmark, reversal, could be, changed.
So the Ghana Revenue Authority has actually issued a statement to that effect, indicating that it takes effect from today. Now, this also brings you this other bit. I'll come to the statement in a bit, but then GUTA has also been accusing the Association of Ghana Industries of lobbying government to reverse the policy. Clement Boateng contends that the AGI does not have the capacity to produce the items which will be affected under this policy.
Look at our total metric tons of rice that the country is supposed to have, which is about 800,000, and we are just those who are producing it are in the range of 300 to 400,000. Then that shortfall, where do we get it from? We still have to import it, and if we have to import it, and then you have reverse this benchmark reduction, then definitely prices is going to be up. So we think government must take a second look. Government should not be pushed to the wall, or should not be lobbied by those who are seeking their own self-interest. But governments must look at the totality of the Ghanaians and the purchasing power of the Ghanaians. That is the bottom line. It is not about somebody's interest. If the person has got the capacity to produce, what is the point in sitting in a plane, traveling so many kilometers away, renting a hotel, and then incur those costs there if I can get the product in Ghana here? This is the situation is that they don't have the capacity to produce now. So it should be a gradual process, but not a short-term policy that within the shortest possible time government says we are reversing the benchmark value. I don't think it's right, and governments must take a second look at it.
Now, for his part, the Executive Director of the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki, Awingobet, has berated government for reversing the policy. He also claimed the reversal was not properly thought through, as he urges government to halt implementation and further engage stakeholders.
We think that it's not the right time. Look at the economic situations of ordinary Ghanaians, their financial status, vis-a-vis if they say government is the largest employer or the private sector, how many private within the 2019-2020, 2021, how many Ghanaians have gotten jobs and getting good pay? I strongly believe that it's not the right time. Look at the cost of living in the country now. And as my colleague just said, what are the capacity that we have on those commodities that the benchmark value should be reversed come tomorrow? What is going to happen is that our friends from the AGI don't have the capacity, to the best of my knowledge. They are not, even if they have their factories sitting there, they don't have they are not producing up to optimum, and they know that it's not about the benchmark values that is making them not producing up to optimum. It's as a result of the cost of borrowing in this country. It's as a result of the cost of utility tariff in this country. And so they knowing very well. And as I said, very soon, AGI will be exposed. They will be exposed by the African Continental Free Trade that is coming on board very soon, where we have people in South Africa, Kenya, and the rest are borrowing at a lower rate, are using lower utility tariff, can produce up to optimum, and they are going to bring their product into this country as well and sell, and we will take it there.
All right, and the items to be affected include crude and refined oils, finished aluminium products, as well as toilet facial tissue and towels, biscuits, pharmaceutical products. Others include chocolate products, clinker, cement, mosquito coils, ceramic tiles, agricultural inputs such as machetes, fruit juices, tomato paste, selected soap and detergent products, lubricants, alcoholic and carbonated drinks and beverages are also going to be affected. Now, we're joined right now on Zoom by Clement Boateng, who is with GUTA. Good morning to you, Clement.
Yeah, good morning, Israel, and how are you?
I'm well, and Happy New Year to you.
Many happy returns.
Okay. So now, you guys have been making your point about how this is going to impact you and how you intend to just simply pass on whatever it is to traders. But government has a point when they say that what they're trying to do essentially is to try and bring up local industries, don't they?
Yeah, Israel, good morning once again to your viewers as well as your listeners. Israel, what we are all craving for is industrialization. Industrialization, we all know, is the way to go.
Yeah. Morning.
So therefore, we are not against the industrialization agenda of the government. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Clement.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, we are not against the industrialization agenda of the government. But, what we are telling the government to do is to hasten slowly. Currently, we all know that our industries don't have the capacity to meet the demands of the Ghanaians. And so, therefore, we want the government to hasten slowly. At least, we should all come to, a round table discussion and then look at the areas that they can be able, to meet the local demand. We can maybe take about 1, 2, 3 items. Then we pilot on that. You see, but to bandit about 42 items and say that you are reversing the policy is very inimical, to business. That is the point that we are making. We are not against, the industrialization agenda of the government, because we know that at least we must start from somewhere and then progress gradually until we are self-sufficient. But we could all bear reverse that currently the situation that we are, our local manufacturers cannot meet the country's demand. And so therefore, if you say you are banded about 42 items and then reversing the policy, my brother, it is inimical to business. And let me tell you, government currently, we are having a double-digit inflation. Is it not it? And government's aim is to try as much as possible to achieve a single digit. Now, with the reversal of this policy, I can tell you it is going to be difficult for government to achieve its single-digit inflation because prices are going to rise. Prices are going to rise. You bear with me that this Christmas, people were saying that prices are too high, and therefore traders were complaining that their goods, were not being, patronized. It were not being patronized because, one, currently the situation that we find ourselves is very difficult. Prices of freight have gone up astronomically. World commodity prices have gone up. Our CD also, it's not performing, as it's used to be. So, coupled with all these facts, made prices, higher. And with the reversal of this policy, prices are going, to be maybe 2 or 3-fold.
All right, Clement. So you make the argument that the capacity, local capacity, or the capacity of our local industries to produce to meet the demand isn't quite there yet. But let's look at some of the products that they're seeking to reverse. We have crude and refined oils, finished aluminium products, then toilet facial tissue and towels, biscuits, pharmaceutical products, and then chocolate products, clinker, cement. Let's just take cement, for instance. Do we have an issue with meeting the local demand for cement? We don't. Okay.
You see, that is why I said that at least maybe we should pick about 2 or 3 or 4 items and then pilot. We all know that currently we have about, I think about, is it 8 or 9 or 10, cement manufacturing countries?
Yes, locally.
Companies.
Yeah.
Locally. Yes. And we all know that, in fact, they are doing well. They are doing well, but still, the cost of cement, keeps on rising. Why is it that we have all these factories here, but still cost of cement keeps rising? It means that still they are trying as much as possible to meet the local demand, but the capacity they have not as yet produced to the full capacity. So once we have about 10 companies and then they are trying to do well, this is the area that maybe we have to focus and then try and then pilot. You made mention of toilet
paper.
Yes. Yes, we have companies here that are also, doing well in that regard. Then we have companies here also that are also, doing well in manufacturing of biscuits. You see, these are the areas that maybe government must, try, to focus, resource them in terms of finance, so that they'll be able, to produce to capacity. What is the point?
Right, it looks like we have a problem with Clement's connection. Let's go to Professor Lord Mensah. He's actually been with us for a while now, and we're bringing him in to help to analyze all that's happening. Before then, though, as we try and get him on the line, I'm just going to share with you the statement I talked about earlier, which is coming from the Ghana Revenue Authority. So it reads, guidelines for the implementation of government's policy directives on removal of reduction of values of imports on selected items. And it makes certain references. So one, reference A provided the guidelines for the implementation of government's policy directive on reduction of values of imports as a relief to importers with effect from 4th April 2019. The guidelines were aimed at clarifying the directives for effective implementation and sensitization of the general public, and in particular stakeholders such as importers or duty payers and for their agents, freight forwarders. Now, 2, the policy guidelines were categorized as follows. A, home delivery value of vehicles. B, goods on which benchmark values are applied. C, goods covered by the cargo tracking note, and all other goods. That's for D. The reliefs to importers or duty payers were as follows. Home delivery of goods. For duty purposes, the HDV of a vehicle was discounted by 30%. And it continues, goods on which benchmark values are applied. 1, 50% of the benchmark value was to be applied in the absence of the production of any other evidence of value, such as credible invoices, CTN, or bank transaction payments. It goes on to explain all of that, and and essentially goes on to say that, so for the avoidance of doubt, that's on point 9, paragraph 9, for the avoidance of doubt, the values to be used applied in the assessment of duties shall be full, 100%, and devoid of any reduction in values, 30% for vehicles. And thus, the status quo on 4th April 2019 shall be restored in respect of the selected items with effect from 4th January 2022. These guidelines are to be read thoroughly and understood properly to prevent any possible losses of revenue. So this is issued by Colonel Kwejo Damwa, retired Commissioner, Customs Division. So essentially, government is saying that, or the Ghana Revenue Authority is saying that we're going back to the period before 4th April 2019, when anything you import, the value that's on which they calculate the duty is 100%. We're going back to that point, because what they did was, after 4th April, the 4th April, government decided that, or the GRA said, all right, let's discount the values. So if it's 100%, we'll discount some to 30%, some to 50%. Now we're just going back. We're going to use the full value to determine the duties that you have to pay. We have Clement back. And before we come to you, Clement, let me go to Professor Lord Mensah. So we've been seeing this playing out. For me, I see it clearly as an issue between AGI and GUTA. GUTA are the importers. So essentially, they want the cost of their imports to be reduced, or which was what was a status quo. They were enjoying that relief. Then GUTA also realizes that, no, this is hurting us, because if the imports are becoming cheaper, they're becoming more attractive. And then we, those producing these items, well, our products are not so competitive. So it's clearly between GUTA, the importers, and AGI, the industry. Isn't that the case, Professor Lord Mensah?
Yes, that's the case. I mean, government had an objective for introducing these subsidies, or let me call it a cut in tariffs. And these objectives, one of them is to probably increase more imports. And then secondly, the imports must be targeted towards maybe goods that are coming to serve as probably an input to the economic activities of this country. And then also, you look at the local manufacturer side. I mean, you realize that anytime, you reduce tariffs, it encourages more import. And if you encourage more import, what is going to happen is that prices on the market has a tendency of, coming down. And when price comes down, the local manufacturers probably may not be able to afford to produce at that lower price, and therefore knocking them off business. And that is why you see that conflict between the two parties that you mentioned earlier. And so this is, bound to happen in every environment where, you allow imports to come and compete with local manufacturing, product. Now let's look at how the government made the U-turn. And I will always say that, some of the policies that are being rolled out by government are normally politically motivated than economic.
Okay.
Because,
explain.
In 2019, at the time that this policy was being introduced, government, desperation for revenue generation was there. It was clearly on the grounds that, okay, fine, we had borrowed up to a point where we need money. So I did not support this idea of, discounting import.
Yeah.
Exactly. I did not support, not that necessarily the reversal, but then, reducing the import as of that time in 2019.
Yeah.
I wasn't in favor of it. Because, when you wear the appetite of the importer, after a certain time and you want to remove it, it becomes a problem. Because it gives that kind of laxity into the local system. to which, the effort that we need to, move towards production would tend to be reducing. So at a point in time where you have some way, somehow, production capacity and you want to reduce it, people's appetite have already been developed in importation. And as a result of that, you will start getting this conflict. But let me also tell you one thing. If you see a price of any imported item on the shelves of this country, it's not driven only by price. I remember those days when government was saying that, look, we're trying to, reduce this reduction, provide this tariff reduction so that, government can, product on the market can be reduced. Price of product can be reduced. But I can tell you that it's not only tariffs that, moves the price of, imported product on the market. And in some way, somehow in economics, we call them tradables. And you don't really, determine only this price. Now, you have several indicators that moves this price. One of them is the margins that those importers are also looking for. Now, are they ready to compromise some of their margins as a result of this reversal? That's one question. And that is where my good friend at the other side, may be arguing from. But then let's also look at other aspects of price drivers. You can see clearly, I noted some few things down. We have tariffs, that government has control over. We have inflation that government has control over, because when the goods comes to the port, obviously those goods needs to be moved from their various distribution centers. And of course, you are going to use fuel to do that. So if at that point, fuel prices are high, obviously it will be built up into the prices that we are looking at now. Now you also look at, the expected exchange rates that importer is looking out for. Because by the time he finishes selling off his product, what is going to be the exchange rate that is going to convert the Ghanaian currency into to get a foreign currency so that he can import into the future? All these things are things that builds up into, the price of a commodity on the market. So if you say that you are providing tariff reduction, and as a result of that, you're going to have, price reduction on our market, you might be making a mistake, because, all these indicators builds up into the price, and you will not know, whether it is making impact. The last time I heard from the finance minister, he gave an indication that they've been providing the subsidies for importers, but prices of commodities on the market are not going down. Then I said, yes, I've been vindicated, in 2019. When I said that, have we done the research to know that the price of import product on our market is mainly determined by tariffs? And so until we establish that, we cannot introduce a policy that will give this benchmark, values reduction. So effectively, we have come back to that U-turn where government says, okay, fine, I'm not getting the benefit that, moved me to introduce this, kind of, subsidies. So if I'm not getting it, then let me revert back. Because the essence of providing these subsidies is to ensure that, goods comes into the country, you do more import, government benefits from what we call economies of scale. The more import you do as a result of the reduction, the more government benefits on more of the tariffs. And then secondly, getting more product coming into the system increases economic activities. And as a result of that, the various indirect taxes that government wants to take will also be, improved. So effectively, if the government is not getting that, then it will call for U-turn. Right. That is what, happened in this country as we speak now.
So Prof, I've been speaking with, we've been speaking with Clement, and Clement is still on the line. And he makes the point that governments, they don't quite have a problem with government reversing the policy, but they feel that the approach should have been different. They are looking at more like a piloted phase of it, so that you select some items. And we all agree, at least in the conversation I've had with Clement, that cement, for instance, is one of those that you can decide that, okay, I want to reverse the benchmark policy. So he selects some items and do that, because he makes the point that the capacity of the local industry to produce, to meet the demand, isn't quite there yet. So if you do these things, you're likely to end up with prices still going up, and you're not going to achieve the impact or what you were hoping to achieve?
Well, Clement makes sense in that direction. But then let me also tell Clement that probably, like I said, I've not done the research. That is why I will use the word, word probability and tendencies and all those kind of economic words. You know, there's a likelihood that the government has done a research and realized that the capacity that we need, might be more than we need to produce locally, might be more than what, you know, the importers will be bringing in. So when you take cement, for instance, like you mentioned earlier, about 8, companies are on the market now. Now, if you're going to import cement and the prices are high, when you come to the market and the local manufacturers are producing to a certain level of price, you cannot afford to import more of the cement. So in a way, government is trying to propel, local manufacturers to produce more. And that is why, we have, the government is coming up with these policies. Now, let's also go back to the piloting case. You realize that when the policy was being introduced, we never realized any piloting. It came all out, as a policy that, was touching on certain products. And now my expectation was that, okay, fine. These products are products that are more sensitive as far as the economic demand is concerned in this country. And so therefore, if we are targeting them, then probably we know what we are doing. And like I said earlier, it could be that the political, force behind that policy was more than the economic force. And that is why the government has made U-turn. And, I'm not surprised to see these agitations coming from Clement and his people.
All right. So Clement, Prof makes the point that the decision by government to actually introduce this bank match policy or discount imports was not based on any economic, reasons, but more political. And so you may have been, Guta and other importers may have benefited from a political decision, and now it's making sense economically for governments to reverse it. You'd have to unmute. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I think Prof has made that point, but I will be in disagreement with Prof, because I can tell you that in 2019...
Maybe let me add a bit to it. So essentially, you were able to lobby effectively to get that done for you. And government has, in other words, come to its senses.
Yes, okay. Like I was saying, I will not be in agreement with Prof in that direction, that policy, came about as a result of, a political lobbying. In 2019, when that decision was made, before then, there had been agitation, hue and cry by traders and importers. And government was also losing a lot of revenue, because at that time, because duties were very high, we were not doing importation. And even if we were doing importation, most of our people were channeling their cargoes through Togo and then Cote d'Ivoire. So government realized that they were losing a lot of money, and then GRA was not...
All right, we seem to be having a challenge with Clement's connection.
Hello?
Yeah, Clement, yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for a bit, but yeah, we can hear you.
And so therefore, the Vice President, in its own wisdom, constituted a committee which toured some of the ports in the West Africa sub-region to ascertain, what was happening there in terms of, duties. And when the committee returned, they brought a report that duties being paid over there compared to Ghana here, Ghana was really on the higher side. And that was the reason why people were not channeling their cargoes through Tema and Takrade. And so therefore, what Guta was saying, that as far as we are concerned, what we want is a reduction in duties. So whatever government will do, to reduce duties is what we are seeking to achieve. So government made us to understand that because of the common ECOWAS external tariffs that they were using, because they have a duty, they have duty rates, they have a tariff band that they were using, the ECOWAS countries were using, which starts from, I think, 5% to 35%, depending on the type of commodity or goods that you bring in. So they made us to understand that because of the common ECOWAS external tariff, they cannot touch the duty rates, and therefore they will, in their own wisdom, come out with a solution which will mitigate, our crime. And so therefore, they came out with this benchmark reduction. So it wasn't, something of a political, but rather something of economic reasons. That was why the government came out with that reason. And when the government, came up or introduced that benchmark, reduction, a lot of cargo, came into the system, and the government started, or GRA started achieving its, target. So I will not, side with Prof that, the reasons that brought about the benchmark reduction was a more economic.
Now, Clement, one other point that he made was, yes, government was hoping that prices would come down if they offered the discount.
Yes. Let me come to that point.
Did the prices really come down? Or probably government after a while realized that? No,
prices really came down. Prices really came down until recently, because of COVID, where we get our suppliers, they were not working. We are all aware that world commodity prices, have gone up, freight have gone up, and that is the reason why before we went for Christmas, traders were crying, and then consumers also were crying that when they go to market, goods are on the higher side, and so therefore they weren't able to patronize goods. This all came about as a result of the factors that I have enumerated. But until that, prices really came down. You see, benchmark reduction policy brought about stability of prices, and then also it's brought about reduction in prices until recently. The problems that I've enumerated, started, coming up, and then prices, started going up a bit. Whoever says this benchmark policy didn't bring prices down, I will not side with that person. Otherwise, prices would have, had it not been this benchmark reduction, prices would have been much higher.
Clement, Prof also argues that another aspect of it is profiteering on the part of the importers. And so they tend to want to take advantage, and the prices, they want to protect whatever profit margins that they're making. And so even though they could reduce the cost of the items or the prices of the goods that they're selling, they choose not to, so that they can make some fantastic profits. And probably if you, Guta, and the importers were willing to take some cuts and make some sacrifices, everybody else will be happy.
That is also not true. You see, we are in a global world, and the market that we are in currently is very competitive. We import throughout the world. Some bring their goods from Asia, from Europe, from America, and so therefore the market is very competitive. So you cannot, cut throat. Gone are the days that traders, and for that matter, maybe importers or businessmen do profit of maybe over 30-40%. Right now, even when you are lucky to even make a profit of 10%, then you are lucky, because the market is very competitive. So you don't need to overcharge or overprice your wares. Otherwise, you lose out of business. So that one is also not true. The profit that we are making is just minimal and very moderate.
So you're saying that you're making profits. I mean, you're lucky to be making profits about 10%. Is that the case?
I'm telling you, because the market is very competitive. If someone comes, look, the sector that I belong to the spare parts industry. If maybe I'm selling a shock absorber of Toyota Corona for 300 Ghana cedis, and somebody comes and even offer me 250 or 260, I will collect it. Otherwise, he goes to another place. He can even get it maybe 240 or 230. So what is the point in overpricing where the market is very competitive?
No, but isn't it the case that, all of you within the spare parts hub, in that Abosukan spare parts hub,
there have never been communication.
You come together and then you just decide that, yeah, this is the way we're going to sell it. So wherever you go, you're still going to get it at around 250.
No, it is not true. It is not true. We don't agree on one price here so that everybody will sell at that price. No, because there are different countries that we bring our goods from. Some bring their goods from America. Some bring their goods from Europe. Some bring their goods from Asia. So there is no way that you can overprice your price, because if I don't take the 230, he may go to another place and he can even get it maybe at 220 or 210. So what is the point? If I come and I sell and I make 10 cedis, 20 cedis, 30 cedis profit, it's good, rather than to overprice my goods and then sit here and at the end of the day I'll not be able to sell anything.
Yeah. Prof, now what the Guta is saying is that what we should be expecting is that there's going to be an increase in the prices of the affected products. Now, that wouldn't help the economy, would it? Prof, you'd have to unmute.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for speaking with my mic muted. This has a tendency of affecting prices on the market. And, my friend Clement won't understand where I'm coming from economic, perspective, in a sense that, the profit margins, a touch on the profit margins is very, very sensitive. And Clement should understand that, once there's a unionization, there's that kind of tendency in a reduction of competition. And therefore, prices can be at a certain level, no doubt about that. And looking at the importation, once you have product crossing even a border to Togo, there's a likelihood that you transact in dollars. So the exchange rate, and then whether you are importing from China, importing from Germany, you importing from the exchange rates, have a way of communicating, which we can talk about that triangular kind of impact. So if the dollar is going up, obviously it has a tendency of affecting the pound, it has a tendency of affecting the yen. And even when you are importing onions from Burkina Faso, you transact in dollars. So we cannot say that you are importing from different sources. But we need to understand that, yes, obviously I expect that the consumer will suffer the brunt of this decision. And in the end, prices are going to be high. And a country that has boasted of, achieving certain macroeconomic targets, for which we are hoping that those macroeconomic achievements will build up into the doorstep of a typical Ghanaian, so that when a Ghanaian receives his salary at the end of the month, he knows the price that he's going to buy tomatoes for on the market. He knows the price that he's going to buy fufu powder for on the market. He knows the price that he's going to buy, even coffee brokuman on the market. So effectively, it will smoothen the consumers, spending. But we are not going to see that. We're going to have a trajectory where, you receive your salary, and the end I would say about 90% of that salary will go into just, consumables in the house. And effectively, you end up not investing at all. So the economy is going to suffer in the long term, because the economy is not going to get money, into savings to do that kind of capital expenditure that we are looking for. And to some extent, government raising of revenue, raising of T-bills and investable assets on the market will also be affected. So it has a long way, it will go a long way to affect the economy.
No, but should we also expect, yes, it may affect the economy, but if we're having the industries being able to produce and meeting the demand, that should somehow ease whatever difficulties we're having on the inflation side, shouldn't it?
Israel, you see, that is when, the reason why we are, taking off these benchmark values is true. By, thinking that since it's a policy, at this time, the policy has achieved its results, and therefore we have local manufacturers who can manufacture to, compete with those importers. And so therefore, prices can easily come down. It might not be true. It could also be that it's government that needs the revenue. Government that needs the money. So instead of allowing the importers to have that discount for it to go that long term of, getting through the system before the government benefits from those excise taxes and those economic activity related taxes, then government wants to hold up the money up there so that quickly the money comes into the folds of the government. Then the government can use it for the purpose that it wants to use it for. So it could also be a sign of desperation for money that the government is running into. That is why, they've removed this tax. It might not necessarily be true that at this level, we have local manufacturers who can easily compete with importers.
All right, so Clement, as you heard Prof say, it could be the case that government really needs money. It's desperate for cash, and so it has to squeeze you.
Well, that might be true. Who knows? But if it is true, then government must come clearly and say that at this point, we need money for infrastructure development, and so therefore we are reversing this policy so that you paid 100% duty for us to be able to rake in more revenue for development, rather than to put the blame on AGI and then say that we want to encourage local manufacturing, and that is the reason why we are reversing this policy, because we all know that the local manufacturers don't have the capacity to produce the 42 items that they have listed, and that was the reason why in my initial comments I said that let's select maybe 3-4 items that we all know that they can be able to produce, so that we will all back them. We all back them, because I made a point that if I can get, my supply locally, what is the point, sitting in a plane, traveling kilometers, more kilometers away, and, rent a hotel and then, made my purchases over there, whilst I can get the item locally. So these are two reasons that Prof has given. We don't know which one really, backs government's decision to reverse this policy. But Guta, our doors are still, open. We have, called for a further stakeholder engagement with AGI and whoever, matters in the industry, so that we can all sit down and find an amicable, solution to this. But we are against the banditing of 42 items, to reverse the policy.
So if things don't go your way, you're saying that consumers should expect that prices are going to go up on the market? Definitely,
because, no businessman is a Father Christmas. You see, Israel, one thing we even didn't talk about, or I didn't, made mention of it, is you are aware that, there has also been an increment of 15% on government institutions, like some of the regulatory bodies like FDA, Ghana Standard Authority. All their fees are also going to, go up by 15%. And these are all costs that we have to, bear at the ports. So if I bear all these costs, what am I supposed to do? Definitely, I have to pass on to the consumer. So Ghanaian consumers, must, brace themselves up that as this policy is reversed, it is going definitely to lead to, a hike in prices.
All right, so it's not just about the policy being reversed, but you're looking at the fees and charges that government is, so all that will come together.
Yes, we pay all these fees also at the ports. We pay all these fees at the ports. The regulatory bodies, Energy Commission, Food and Drugs Authority, Standard Authority, we all pay. We pay. So if all those fees are also going to go up by 15%, definitely it's a cost that we are going to incur, and we must pass all those costs to the consumer.
All right. Thank you very much, Clement Boateng of Ghana Union of Trade Association, for joining us for this conversation. I'd let Prof give us his final thoughts on it. So Prof, Clement is just making the point that apart from the benchmark policy that's being reversed, which is going to make the prices of the cost of their items go up, they are also going to have to take on or add the fees and charges that are going to be revised, which means if the item was going to go up by 10%, we should be expecting that probably it's going to go up maybe at 15 or 20%.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that is bound to happen. And there's a hidden one that Clement doesn't want to come out clear on it, which is their margins. At what percentage are they ready to sacrifice their margins for this government discount? I mean,
he says their margins are already low.
Oh, no, I can't believe in that. Because, I mean, like you said, businesses are not Father Christmas. I mean, every business wants to make profit. And, of course, if you look at alternative investment for your money, if you look on the market and you can invest in treasury bills and possibly you can get 15%, I don't think when you go through that hustling of going to somebody's country and import, running through this risk and exposures, and possibly your goods can even sink at the sea and all those, without insurance, you'll be in trouble. And all those things coming in, you will sacrifice that 15% in our local market for treasury bills to go through this hustle. So for me, that 10%, I don't believe that. So,
all right.
I mean, let's be clear on this. You see, Israel, I mean, we need to understand this. Whatever, government did in 2019, I would say, was purely political. I mean, we can't dispute that. And now government has realized that, no, let's put on our economic caps because we are dire in need of money at a level where our debt is up. And more so, they will just give up the consequences of those macro indicators giving up. And like I said, inflation has a tendency of going to the double digit as we move on into this situation. So for me, I'm not afraid to say that yes, government's decision at the time wasn't well thought through. But Clement should also understand that before, the introduction of the policy, they never piloted it, and that's one of my criticisms at the time, that why don't you test the products that are more sensitive, that has a tendency of improving your economy, for you to give them those subsidies? I don't think we went through that process. And so we are bearing that brunt of it. And this is the reality of the economy that we're going to face by, this reduction and then having impact on our economy. So that should tell you that, those single-digit inflation that we're enjoying at the time, that we're boasting of our macro indicators being improving and all those, were just artificial. They were not real. Now the reality is going to set in. We're going to see the actual values. And this has also a tendency of affecting the exchange rate. So let's see what is going to happen in the future.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Lord Mensah. He's an economist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And then we also had earlier Clement Boateng, who is the first vice chairman of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. So as he's indicating, we should brace ourselves some really difficult times ahead as they're expecting to increase their prices, not just because the benchmark policy is being reversed, but because the fees and charges have been revised. And so they're going to put all that together and add it to the cost of the prices of the goods and services that they're going to be selling to you anymore. So we should be bracing for some going to the market and seeing prices going up.
Of course, yeah. And even once, the dollar and the pound are not even, putting this benchmark value thing aside, once the dollar and the pound are doing very well and the city isn't, so they're already, the pound is 8.6 already. So I think the dollar is still at 6.3, 6.4 thereabout. So already it's affecting the price of everything. And once you take these things off, then, I was living in a state of complete oblivion because I haven't actually physically gone to market to buy rice myself for a very long time. The last time I bought rice, the 5 kilo bag was like 35 cedis or 40 cedis. And this is like good quality, top of the range rice. And over Christmas, I had to go, it's almost 80 cedis.
Wow.
Yeah. For a 5 kilogram bag of rice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite significant.
Yeah, it is quite significant. Obviously, this is over the course of maybe 2-3 years.
Could it also be that it's because it was a Christmas festival?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not going to come down, is it? I do feel like genuinely, you went to the market before Christmas to buy a bag of rice and you'll go in mid-January and the prices would have significantly come down. Like suddenly it's going to go back to 60 cedis or 55.
So probably it's about time we change our taste and preferences and went for local rice.
Yeah, but that's what we say. But the reality of the fact is that do we have to buy things that are that expensive? Does it have to be that expensive? Yeah. Because life is about choice, ultimately. And when you're giving the choice to just like really have to spend a lot more to be able to get what you like, then it's an indication that the economy is not particularly doing well. For example, if you go to the UK, not everything is produced there. I'm all for, local production, but not everything is produced there. You still have, chocolates coming from Switzerland, you still have coffee coming from Brazil or wherever.
But they're not outrageously expensive.
They're not outrageously expensive. They kind of match, the prices then. But that's also because the currency is strong and is doing well.
Yeah.
So But yeah, it's not looking like life is going to get any easier for us. So we have to brace ourselves and start making,
We're taking a break. When we come back on the show, we're going to be talking about how to approach 2022. We're out of 2021, going into
we started the conversation yesterday. So yesterday we did a lot of reflection on 2021, the questions to ask ourselves and how to plan for a better, productive, realistic, sustainable 2022. So we're going to continue that conversation with Doreen right after this break.
Okay, yeah. So do stay tuned. We're back in a bit.
Well, hello there. Welcome back. This is still the AM show, and we're still recovering from that Turkish delights thingy that Israel brought us. I'm sorry, that's why I went off air. I needed to recover, but anyways. And we're getting into a conversation that we started yesterday. Like I was saying, yesterday we talked about reflecting on 2021. We learned so much. Yesterday was so great. And we're going to continue with that. And we are going to have a conversation about moving forward, planning for 2022, and I have a book and a pen. Yes, I'm really excited. Doreen brought them. Doreen Bafo, CEO of Branch Out Africa. She brought them. So we're going to go through a few exercises. So if you're sitting at home or in your office and you haven't started work properly, why don't you grab a pen and a paper or a book so that we can do this together. Hopefully we can have a really productive year. Next year, by this time when we're sitting down going through stuff, there'll be there'll be a lot. So, okay, let's jump right into it. Continue from where we left off yesterday.
Absolutely. Good morning to you, anyone.
Good morning.
To our viewers this morning. And it's good to be back.
Yes.
So yesterday we had a reflective exercise, a number of questions to help us close 2021 beautifully. Today we're going to pick from that and build on that conversation to plan out our year for 2022. And if you have your notepads ready and a pen or any note-taking device, that will really, really help. Just gift yourself this time for yourself, and let's do this together. Anyone has hers, so you can grab yours as well. And we'll pick up from yesterday. We'll start with 3 words that you want to define your choices for 2022. 3 words that you can reflect on a daily basis that will guide your choices and actions throughout 2022. And yesterday I shared mine. I chose breathe to remind me to take a break and to remind me also to walk away from particular things. I also chose impact based on the new projects that I'm embarking on. I wasn't sure of the third one, but I remember I said package, act, or brand. I'm still reflecting on that to be sure what my third word is. So write out your 3 words that you want to guide your choices and actions on a day-to-day basis in 2022. Anyone, do you care to share one of yours? We're doing this together.
Yeah, but as of yesterday, I hadn't. And there's so many things that have been jumping out at me, but I think I've picked one.
Okay.
So I don't have the other 2 yet.
Yes.
But my one word so far for 2022 is kindness.
Kindness. That's a powerful one.
Yeah.
I love kindness.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll work with kindness as we go through the exercise.
Okay.
And I just invite our viewers to write out their 3 words. As we go through this exercise, you'll find out how we're going to use it throughout the year. So once you've done that, I want you to just reflect on your life and think through 2022 and ask yourself what areas of life it's really important to you throughout 2022. If you think through your life, just list those ones. And as a guide to our viewers, I'm going to share a few that I've seen people use. I see words like reflection, I see relationship, I have people thinking of learning, there's contribution to society or their community, there's often family, sexuality, love life, health and fitness, spirituality, friends, emotions, finances, career and work, academics, college life or school life, physical environment, personal development, creative life, adventure, fun and recreation, social, community. Just create your list. So what areas are most important to you? So when you list them. And
how many are there, or just indefinite?
No, just pick what works for you. I've had people work with 4 areas.
Okay, because if it's a lot, then it's a bit difficult to focus,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Okay.
Absolutely. So typically I say, make this as personal as possible.
Okay.
So for you, if you consider your life, the life you want in 2022, what areas are important for you? For me this year, on my circle, on my list, I have about 8 areas.
Okay.
So I have business, I have fun and recreation, I have relationship, I have romance, for instance.
Okay.
I have personal development. I have something for giving back to my community as well. And for my community, I'm speaking about the community of professional associations that I belong to. So list the areas important to you, and I invite our viewers to do that. Okay, so once you list those areas, count them. How many areas do you have anymore?
I have 3.
3, okay. So I'm going to invite you to draw out a circle.
Okay.
And once you draw the circle, I want you to divide the circle into 3 equal parts, just because you have 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for our viewers, if you have more than 3, or if you have 4, divide the circle into equal parts based on the number of areas that you've listed as important to your life. And then, once you've done that, starting from the middle of the circle, I want you to create some kind of gauge on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
So where 1 is the lowest, so it's right in the center, and then 10 is the outer circumference of the circle.
Okay.
Okay. And now take those 3 areas that you've listed and write in each segment that you've of the circle how you've divided it. Write for each area you've listed as important, label the segments as such.
Okay.
So the outer circumference as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So label. And we're doing this to help us as individuals plan out our 2022. In my line of work, it's called the Wheel of Life. It just gives you a semblance of harmony. And we use harmony because it's almost like the orchestra. You find some tunes really low, some mid-tempo, some really loud.
Yeah.
But they come together to create that beautiful tune that we hear and love. And that's what it is in our lives. There are some areas that will rate lower than others.
Okay.
But putting all together will create that beautiful harmony we want to experience in 2022. All right, so now that you've drawn the circle and you've labeled 1 to 10, I want you to take each segment for you. Do you mind sharing one? Anyone that you don't mind sharing on
So
TV?
business.
Business, okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10 for business, and you define business as based on what business means to you.
Yeah, okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate where you currently are at?
Okay.
Your level of satisfaction in that area of your life.
Okay, so this is a new venture, so I'm at a 0.
You're at a 1. So here's how
Okay,
we
so
say.
it's at a 1.
We often say a 1. We say once you're alive,
it's a 1.
and you've even thought about it.
Okay.
That's a 1. So we're starting from a 1.
Start from 1. Okay.
All right. So I presume you're rating that a 1.
That's a 1.
So go
yes.
through and rate the other areas.
Okay.
As well. And I invite our viewers to do the same. So you realize I've rated mine as well for the various areas. I chose 12 different areas this year.
Okay.
Okay. And so you rate each of them by just indicating an X in the segment. So like an asterisk in the segment where, so if it's a 3, mark it with an asterisk where the 3 is.
Okay.
If it's a 9, mark it with an asterisk where the 9 is.
Okay.
And you do that. And once you've done that, I want you to use a straight line to join all 3 indicators, all 3 places where you've marked.
Okay.
All right. And then, so once you've done that, you realize you have something that looks like a circle.
Yeah.
That creates a semblance, that gives what's the semblance of balance in your life right now. So if you see mine, you have an area that's really dipped in and some areas really dipping out.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Some areas are low tones, some are mid-tempo, and some are really out there. But the question to ask ourselves now is, okay, in 2022, which of these areas do I have an urgent need to improve?
Okay. So now you kind of prioritize.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if you look at my areas, and once you think of those areas you have an urgent need to improve, you can mark another X. If you have a different pen color, that's fine. But if you don't, you can just mark it in any way that you want. But so for me this year, health and fitness, I'm moving from where I currently have it from a 6, and I want health and fitness to move to an 8 by the end of the year. If I take alliances for my personal business, I want it to move from a 4 to a 6. And so look at all the areas where you want to see you have an urgent need. And the key word is urgent need to improve in 2022. And we say that because there are some areas that may be low tempo right now, but there's no urgent need to improve. You know that if you consider your context and you keep it at that level, you still have that semblance of harmony in your life. So once you've considered those areas, and sometimes even if you have 12 areas, you realize that where you want and you feel or you know that you have that urgent need to improve will probably be 3 or 4 areas, and that's okay. So once you've marked out those areas, here's now when we get into a conversation. So you take each segment. So let's use your business segment for instance. It's currently at a 1.
Yeah.
By the end of 2022, where would you want it to be at?
I think realistically speaking, maybe a 4.
A 4, fantastic. Yeah. So my question would be, what will 4 look like? Can you get descriptive for us?
Yeah, I mean, 4 would look like registering the business, getting it in order in terms of that aspect of things, the legality, putting together the capital that I need to start it, making contacts with the suppliers and all of that. And then perhaps maybe realistically have maybe 1 or 2 shipments or consignments come in and establish a base of customers, but all not crazy, but just so sets first, putting a foundation for it. That's what that would look like.
And that's a beautiful description. So you've moved from conception at a 1 now to execution, to having an operating model for it.
Is it a problem if I don't put it at a 6 or a 7?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Remember, we're thinking a semblance of harmony, and we said some areas may be low key, and it's okay. It's to say, in 2022, this is what is realistic.
Yeah.
All right. You know that you're working towards maybe a 10 in 5 to 6 years, or an 8 in 10 years, but you are currently at a 1. What's most realistic by the end of the year? Because
sometimes I feel like not having realistic expectations sets us up for disappointment. So for example, if you're at 1, it would be nice to dream and say, oh, I would wish that I would be at an 8 or a 9. But then if you put yourself at an 8 or a 9, considering that it's not the only thing that you're doing, then at the end of the year, if you haven't gotten to the 8 or the 9, then you look back and you're like, oh, I failed. But sometimes failure is because our expectations are not realistic.
Yeah, and you have a point there, but I also realize that for some people, it's often around priorities. So, for instance, if they set the business like yours, say at a 9, sometimes even though they have 6 areas on their wheel as really important, that's what they're going to give the focus to. But they describe the 9 as, for you, for instance, you said the 9 would mean, the 4 would mean it's the execution, registration, and all of that. For them, probably 9 will actually mean that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But I'm really with you on being realistic on what works.
And also, I think accepting that some of these things are influenced by things you can't control.
Absolutely.
So, for example, if I want to start a business, raising capital, as much as I can put my best foot forward, the actual getting of everything I need is beyond my control. I can't force people to invest, and so what do I do, if that process is slowed down, for example, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to have done this and done this, then I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah, and that's why you don't do this at the beginning of the year and just leave it there. You come back to it every now and then based on what time frame you choose to say, I want to look at this again, to say, all right, I thought a 4 would look like this, but this is what I think realistically. So it's keeping, it's a living tool. It's not, I do this and then, see you in December 2022. This is what I'm going to be working at. And 4 for me, moving from 1 to 4, it's moving from Jan to December. But we don't stop there. You'll be looking at this for what can I do realistically in January or between Jan and March to make this work.
Okay.
So
I love how you say Jan.
Thank you.
Do you say Feb as well?
No, I actually say February.
February. It's just January that you say Jan. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Anywell. So for all the segments, I want our viewers to take each segment and get descriptive. If I'm moving from a 4 to a 6, what would that look like?
Okay.
I'm moving from a 6 to a 7, what would that look like? So if I take family life, for instance, and I say I want to move from a 6 to a 9, for me, a 9 would be some defined conversations, regular conversations with my extended family, but also a very improved relationship with my children. So for all the segments, take it and define what you want your desired outcome to look like by end of, and just indicate it there. So now that gives us what we are working with, where we are journeying towards. And after you've done that, after you're really descriptive, and it really helps to do this with somebody close to you.
Okay.
Then you ask, but for those who like to reflect by themselves as well, this is also a tool that you can use
by yourself.
And that's why I love this one. So after you've done your descriptive conversation on what the outcomes you seek look like, the next thing to ask yourself is, what actions do I need to take this quarter to move me one step towards where I want to go to? And often for some people, they want to take segment by segment or particular segments at a time.
Okay.
Some also say, okay, in this, I will take all 6 segments that I'm seeking to improve, but this is where my focus is. But to get really clear on what actions do I need to take. So if we take your business segment, for instance, moving from a 1 to a 4 by end of year. By the end of Q1, where would you seek to have moved to? So let's say you say 2. What would 2 look like? That is registering my business. What actions do I need to take in Q1 to make them happen? And so you do that for all of the segments. And now that gives you your planning tool to say, okay, these are the things that I must see happen, or I desire to see happen in Q1. And that becomes the guiding actions for you to move you towards your 3 words that you chose for yourself for this year. So at the end of, when you take any period of reflection, maybe every other week, some say monthly. I love the every other week reflective exercise. I come back to say, what are my 3 words again? Okay, for me, it's breathe, it's impact, and then it's maybe brand. I'm not sure the third one yet. What have I done in the last 2 weeks with these actions that I listed that move me close to my 3 words?
Okay.
And so I'm constantly having that conversation with myself or somebody, a professional I'm working with throughout the year, to move me or to have me take action towards
it's a lot of intentional work.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I heard you say moments ago how life is about choices.
Yeah.
I don't know where I read this, but I read that making no choice is actually a choice.
A choice, oh yeah. Like making no decision is a decision.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it's being deliberate about the areas of life that for you are really important for you this year. And say for this area, and sometimes it's okay for it to be one area.
Okay.
I've had somebody say it's my insanity this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and for them, every action that they take this year, it's going to be how they improve, how they stay sane, and how they just keep grounded. And that's okay. Make this as personal as possible so that you have a planning tool that works for you as an individual, and that propels you towards that desired outcome that you seek for yourself by end of 2022.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what the wheel is. But I like to bring it to, I like to wrap this up beautifully with final thoughts from the book on empowerment by David Gershon and Gil Straub. I hope I haven't massacred the name. Yeah. But they say that after you've decided what outcomes you want for your life, there are 7 sources of personal power that you need to begin to tap into to keep you on track or to keep you focused on that journey. And they list commitment, discipline, having a support system, tuning into your inner guidance, not taking life too seriously. To say, yes, I said a 9, but realistically, due to situations outside my control, it's actually a 6, and it's okay. You know, life happened. To love, starting with love of self. To say, okay, if I don't take a break at this time, or if I don't do this, if I don't draw back, I probably will achieve this. but I probably will not be myself afterwards. So to start with love of self and love of others. And then finding your own truth is the one that I love so much. Is to say, this is my current context.
Yeah.
This is what works for me at this time.
Yeah.
This is what I can realistically do.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to commit to. And often when you're able to do this by yourself and reflect using those 3 words and your wheel of life for the year, you see that progress. But some people work with, sometimes it's the leaders at work, because businesses, although businesses will not probably put it as a wheel. We set our strategic outcomes and then goals for
Of course.
Absolutely, and our leaders drive that. So if you're one person, or if you're somebody who likes to work with somebody to make it happen, then I would say then that the Association of Coaching Practitioners in Ghana can have, you can find enough professional coaches to work with. If it's okay to mention the...
Of course, sure, go ahead.
It's at, you can find the Association of Coaching Practitioners at acpghana.org. So you can just find that online and find a professional coach
to help you
through this.
Yeah.
So you can go to the coach and say, actually, I did this with Inimwa and Doreen online, but I want to continue that conversation, and I need for you to support me throughout the process.
Okay.
So anyway, this is a simple tool that I use. I've used it quite a bit over some years now, and it works for me.
Okay.
I love the fact that it's so visual, so I can put it in front of either my mirror or my fridge.
Okay.
And
then kind of just go back to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also influences the people in your lives.
Yeah, because they can see what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if you have like healthy eating on there and you're binging on a tub of ice cream, you're like, yo, this was not the plan. but I'm not going to let you go yet. We're going to take a few phone calls. We'd love if you have any questions, if you'd like to reach out to us for some clarification or just, some ideas and stuff. Call us at 0302 221 1691 0302 221 169. I know I'm butchering the phone numbers. I'm mentioning way too many. 0302 211 691 0302 211 692. Give us a call and let us know what you think or what your plan is, which part of this, if you have any questions as well. We'd love to hear from you. Your last point on the final thoughts is finding your own truth.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say that I've discovered that finding your own truth can be painful, because it means that you have to accept things about yourself that you may not like. Like last year, for example, I discovered about myself that I'm not patient at all. I expect patience from other people, but I'm not willing to give them that patience. So it was good for me to realize that, and I started working on it. Am I more patient? No. But I'm better at hiding my impatience. So I think I'm making progress.
I think that you actually even identified it's actually such a great step.
Yeah.
To because then you know, and because you know, you're
more aware.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're not gifting that to people to say, hold on anymore, and that conversation.
And
absolutely.
But Michael is calling from Takrady. Hi, Michael. Good morning.
Yeah. Hello. Please. She made mention of a website that you can have professional coaching.
Okay, it's www.acpghana.org. So www.acpghana.org, and you can get
Ghana in full.
.org.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, okay, thank you, Michael. Yao is calling us from Adensa. Hello, Yao. Good morning. Hello, Yao. Okay. Okay, so phone lines are open 0302 211 691 0302 211 692. So we were talking about
finding
your own truth, and also the importance of saying no.
Yes.
Because that is your truth. Like, no, I can't do this. No, I don't want to. There's something that I do that drives my producers crazy, both Echo and Sammy Odami on the SMS. They ask me to do something and I say, no, I don't want to. And they'll be like, what do you mean you don't like? I don't want to. And I'm learning that it's a full sentence. Like, I don't want to. I'm not when your children are telling you I don't want to do homework. That's not. When you earn your own money, I'm sure my children are watching. Look, when you earn your own money and live in your own houses, then you can say you don't want to. Do you understand me? Very good. Let's talk to Joshua from Kaswa.
Threat issues.
Yeah, threat issues. Joshua from Kaswa. Hi, Joshua. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm well. So what's on your mind?
All right. I have a problem with personal, professional consistency. I don't know how to deal with it. I want you to help me out.
You have issues with consistency?
Yes, as in professional.
Professional consistency. Okay, so we'll let Doreen tell you briefly how to work on consistency. But let me speak to Moses as well, so that if we take all the questions, then we can kind of answer them together. So Moses calling from Swedro. Hi, Moses. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, please, the website, if you can repeat the website for me. And my problem is that I have all these in mind. But my problem currently is that I'm unemployed and don't know what to do. That is my major problem. Because looking at my life, I'm building my life based on what I wanted to do, if in case I get a job. Because, for instance, I'm an agriculture officer and I plan of establishing a poultry farm. But currently, because I'm unemployed, it's a big challenge to me. So I don't know if it can be of help or if there's any word of advice in that area for me. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. So do you want to take Moses' question first and then...
On consistency?
No, just the past person we spoke to and then we go to...
When he's on finding a job.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's a conversation that I hear with a lot of people on I need to find something, and so can you help me find something? There's a part of that where people can support you by introducing you to their contacts and connections to say, okay, can you support this person? And these are the qualifications and experiences that this person comes with. But there's also the part of the work that he has to do.
Okay.
And so I would say, he asked for the website, so he can also go to, it's acpghana.org. And Ghana is in full. There are some coaches who at the beginning of the year and in May and September, as an association, we give pro bono sessions. So if he wants a coach to work with at a particular time during the year to say, I want some guidance or some support system on staying committed to finding something, because then what is that something that he actually wants to find look like? If that's not coming, what are his other options? So that there's some support for him along the way. So I can't point Moses to a place to go right now, but support that helps him find his own way and his own truth is what he can work with a coach for during the period.
Okay, so that's about it. Okay, we have one last caller, Nilo from Medina, and then we'll have to go. Hello, Nilo.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's on your mind?
Please, I want Madam Doreen to help me.
Okay.
I have a problem with this. I am very creative and very efficient, but I have a problem that brings me back anytime I work, which is friends. I have a lot of friends and I want to see how I can do away with them. Already I have them as friends. But is it a good idea to rather avoid them or another way of handling them?
So, Nilo,
very interesting.
Very interesting. And anyway, yesterday we spoke about alliances that you want to, that are not serving you, and the alliances that you want to build to achieve what you want to achieve in 2022. So I think what I hear Nilo say is that if he's reflected, he probably has found some alliances or some partnerships that are not serving him right now, and he wants support to take action. He says, I have a lot of friends and I want to know if I should keep them. Nilo, my question, which is my gift to you, would be to go through this friend list to say which of these friends on my list are currently serving me on what I want to achieve in 2022, and which of them do I probably need to hold back or limit the contacts, and why do I want to do that? Are they like energy depleters? So it calls for some work from you as well, Nilo, to say which of these alliances do I want to hold on to? Do I even want to build further in 2022, or which are those that I want to draw back on? So, Nilo, you're going to have to do this work for yourself, but if you want to work with someone, again, check out the acpghana.org. Like I said, some coaches do pro bono sessions at the beginning of every year, but as an association in March, in May and September, we give out pro bono sessions as well, and you can find a professional coach to work with you along the journey as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for joining us.
Anymore, thank you as well. I put my a QR code for a few viewers who want to stay in touch with me as well.
Okay.
So for instance, if you want to receive periodic publications from us on self-leadership, please scan the QR code. But I'm available on branchoutafrica.com as well.
Okay.
So that for those who want to stay in touch, that's how to keep in touch with me. So anyway, when we come back, inshallah, God willing,
yes,
in December,
there'll be a lot
we'll be looking
to
at your
talk
3
about.
words.
Yes, and how far we've come. I can't wait.
Thank you, Anima.
I'm really excited. Thank you so much for giving us your
Thank
time.
you.
So grateful.
I'm grateful as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anima.
A very big thank you to Doreen Bafo. She's the CEO for Branch Out Africa, and you can find her, just Google or go to the website, Branch Out Africa. Also acpghana.org if you'd like to get some help with some personal coaching. All right, we're taking a quick break and we'll be right back.